Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video. Now this one is quite a long-winded video and it's something I didn't expect to be doing anytime soon. However, I kind of just got the bug of wanting to redecorate some of my biomes. I know I probably shouldn't, but it's inevitable with all the new items we've got. So today I wanted to start off with my plaza. Now I'm not changing anything massively about my plaza. I'm kind of keeping it to the same kind of city vibe, but I wanted it to feel a lot more like a small town kind of village. And so I wanted to utilize some of the new buildings we got, as well as some of the new furniture and things like that, and basically just give all the buildings in here a big move around and just make everything seem a bit more simple and a lot more old school. So it won't be a huge change, but I will show you me kind of taking down everything and then kind of rearranging everything and doing the build. So let's get started. So first, as you can see, my plaza was completely built and I did really love how it looks, so I don't change it too much. I just wanted to give it a really different vibe in here. So I start off by just going through and removing everything that I can remove, so all of the furniture, the pathways and all of the shrubbery that I'd put around. I do go in after this and kind of clear up all the flowers and herbs and stuff that had popped up, but I kind of started off with just mainly moving this and getting all the houses and buildings together that are in the biome and kind of getting them in one spot together so then I can figure out where to rearrange them to. Now, as I said, once I'd kind of destroyed everything and kind of flattened it all down to the base kind of grass, I then got in some of the buildings I knew I wanted to use. Now, I knew I wanted to bring Oswald's house over, as I just feel like having a movie theatre in my kind of little town just made the most sense. I was debating giving him like a big kind of old school black and white build over in Eternity Isle, so I may still do that at some point and just see how it looks, but for now I just really wanted to be able to incorporate his house into one of my biomes because I really love the look of it, and obviously a little kind of like town city vibe fit really well for his movie theatre. And I also added in the new Toontown fire station that we got in the Star Path. I just felt like it made sense to have a little fire station in this little village, and I kind of wanted to just use the buildings that made the most sense in here, so a lot of tall buildings, apartments, and obviously incorporating the new boutique as well. Now, as you can see for the pathway in here, I did actually change it to the new Main Street path. Now, if you haven't seen this, it is now craftable in your crafting table. It does take quite a lot of resources, so I did have to use a lot to get this pathway made. However, when I first saw this in the crafting bench, I knew straight away I was going to be using this a lot. I really love the old school kind of look to the pathway and that dark brown colour. I just really fit the kind of cottagecore vibe I like to go for. So I did use that as my main pathway and then stuck to the asphalt bordered pathway for my roads. I just feel like this works really well for roads, and I've debated a lot of times making some Touch of Magic rugs and making like a really cool road, but it's just such a pain when it comes to dream snaps that I just know I'm gonna have to keep removing them all the time, and it's just gonna end up being a bit of a pain for me, unfortunately. So I decided to stick with the asphalt, but I went in with both that and the Main Street path and kind of started blocking in where the main pavement and road kind of mapping was gonna go in the biome. Now, once I'd put in the road and the pathway, I did go in and add some of the cars I knew I wanted to add to the road, and I realised the road was way too wide, and it just meant I could utilise more pathway, which was good because I knew I wanted to put things kind of lining up and down the pavement that kind of made sense to be there, so decoration for the particular buildings, as well as kind of like natural city items, which you'll see me add later. I then kind of made that road thinner and extended it out to all the exits from the plaza. I just felt like it made more sense to have it be the road continuing out, and it just made the pathway look a lot more kind of structured and natural. And I continued to follow that round and figure out exactly how I wanted everything to be spaced out. Once I'd done that, I did go in and place out a few of the items I knew I'd probably use and figured out how I wanted to utilize them in the biome and where they would work best. Now, this build didn't really have any pre-planning. It kind of was a spontaneous build, as you can tell from me just kind of destroying the plaza and just starting over. It wasn't a planned thing, so I kind of did this all from my own head, from my imagination, kind of change things as I go. So if you see me do something and then go back and completely destroy or completely reverse what I've just done, it is just me figuring out what would work best. So if you don't want to see that and you kind of want to just see the overall end result, then that will be at the end. If you do stick around, you can kind of see how I figured out how to do this. It did take me a couple of hours and I wanted to just make sure I got it right. There probably are still things that I'll go in and tweak every now and then, like while I'm playing, I'll kind of see things that I want to change up, or we might get new furniture from the premium shop or the next update that I want to add and incorporate into here. But for now, I wanted to figure out what I already had in my furniture list that I could kind of use to give this the atmosphere I wanted it to have. Now with the main courtyard area, I wanted to kind of stick to the design that I had previously just because I really did love it. So I kept the floral archways and the fountains, and then I do add in the big Mickey and Walt statue fountain in the middle. I wanted to keep that design just because I really loved how it looked. I think it was a nice kind of entranceway into my valley. So I do go and put that back in, but I wanted to figure out how to utilize the other furniture I had to fit the different areas. And because I'd kind of blocked it out into different sections, it meant I had a lot of kind of free creativity to be able to kind of maneuver things, figure things out. So in the back right section, it was kind of like the dining cafe area. So you had Remy's restaurant, you had the bakery from the premium shop, and I did include Remy's house just to kind of tie it all together. On the opposite corner, you have like the shopping mall area with obviously Scrooge's and Daisy's boutique, and then the ones along the kind of pavement strip were kind of supposed to look as though you had like a few apartment buildings where people would live. You have the fire station for the town, and you also had the theatre where people would go and visit. So that was kind of my thought behind it. Something that I did end up going and picking up from the premium shop, if you watch my live stream on Wednesday on the reset, I didn't actually pick them up then, but I did go back and pick them up after, was the park clocks. I absolutely love how these look, especially now in this town. I think they fit really, really well with a kind of a city atmosphere, but I feel like you could utilize these in a lot of biomes. So I added some of those in and just continued to add in the furniture I wanted to use. I also used some of the new craftable benches and craftable recycling like trash cans that are very similar to previous parks star path ones that were in a previous star path. I didn't get those, but I really love that they gave us kind of a recolor of them as a craftable, because I just love how these benches look. I think they fit perfectly in this kind of city, and they worked a bit better around the biome as opposed to the kind of wooden benches that we have initially in the crafting table. For lighting in the biome, I did stick to the craftable lampposts that we can get from our crafting table. I did have these previously in the plaza, and I just feel like they work really well for a city atmosphere. I did debate using some of the previous lanterns we got in the winter star path, which are these beautiful kind of like black old school lanterns, but they just looked quite bulky in here and I didn't want them to take away from the rest of the builds in here, so I did stick with these. And then I continued to add some more craftables. I did use quite a lot of craftables in this build, so both from the normal crafting table as well as the time bending crafting table, there were quite a few things that I incorporated. So there are obviously the odd few standard Scrooge items, there obviously are a few premium shop items, especially some of the buildings are premium shop, but they will come back around. So if you're looking at anything and wondering where's it from, let me know down below and I'd be more than happy to let you know so you can see where everything's from. Now, as you will see, I do want to add the V8 kind of like gas station into this build, but as you can see, mine are weirdly glitched. I don't know if that's just me. I've seen other people haven't had this issue, but mine for some reason is glitched. I went into the game on update day and it was glitched. If any of you saw my live stream, it was a bit weird. It never fixed itself. So I crafted a new one in the hopes that it was maybe just that one that was glitched, and if I made a new one, it'd be fine. But no, they're both glitched. So if anyone knows and anyone's had this issue, please do let me know down below, because I really do want to add this kind of station into this town build and other builds I want to do. But for some reason, it is all bugged out. But it's okay, I carried on with the build anyway and kind of figured out other ways to kind of decorate the area where I would have put it and figure out a different kind of system of how I want to do it. So I started off by decorating the kind of like shopping mall area where Scrooge's store and the boutique are. I did kind of play around with how to fit these in because the boutique is such a like unnatural shape, which I love. I think it's really cool that it's a different shape, but it did make it difficult in figuring out the layout. So I did kind of play around with that for a little bit and continue doing the pathway around some of the other buildings as well. After that, I went in with trees in here. Now, as much as it is kind of like a city build, I wanted to add a lot of trees and foliage in the kind of gaps around the biome to still give it that kind of like small town feel. I didn't want it to feel too built up. I wanted to incorporate a lot of greenery. So I added in some of the oak, the maple and the red trees around to give it this kind of autumnal feel. I really like using these at the moment to make everything seem a little bit more rustic, and I wanted it to feel a lot more cottagecore in here. So I did add those around in some of the background of some of the buildings to kind of separate them out so they didn't feel too blocky and too kind of like you know when you go to a big city and all the buildings are just like blocked together. I didn't want it to feel like that, so I wanted to include a lot of trees where I could to kind of separate things out, make it feel a lot more natural in here and bring kind of a small town feel to it, before I then went in and added in a lot of shrubbery, so bushes. I used a lot of the kind of main base game bushes. I did add some Eternity R ones just to break things up because they do have a much smaller footprint. It meant I could kind of dot those about, but I wanted to use a lot of the brightly coloured bushes from the base game, and I did add these to the sections on the left and right hand side next to where the road leads to the different biomes. I wanted to add them around there just to make it seem as though this area is still kind of overgrown. There's a lot of life and a lot of colour here, and it was kind of a good way to be able to make a divide between the road and the wall not feel as abrupt. Now obviously in the biome I did want to fill a lot of it with kind of shrubbery and things like that, but I was mindful of obviously leaving spots for things to naturally spawn. I am going to place an ancient vacuum in here just so I can make sure everything gets picked up every so often for resources, but I also will leave a lot of the flowers to kind of just naturally pop up in some of the gaps in here just to kind of add the colour. I did have to pick them all up in order to do the build, but when they do kind of respawn in, I will kind of disperse those around to make it look natural in here. And then I went in and added some of the iron brick fences. I didn't really know where to put too much fencing. I did originally have a lot of fencing in this biome when I did my original build in here, but I didn't want to use as much this time. I wanted it to feel more natural, but I did add it to some of the spots where I felt like it made sense and kind of just broke up some separate parts of the build and figured out the best way around it to kind of use it in a good way to utilize the different spots. As well as that, I feel like this fencing just fits so perfectly with this new pathway. I felt like I had to use it because it just matches too perfectly not to, so I did want to utilize it where I could, and then I carried on just adding in the last bits of foliage. One of the last sections I kind of worked on was just adding a bit more decoration around the different areas of the biome. So I added in some stools that were missing, and I added some just really cute craftable benches outside the front of the boutique just to have a nice little seating spot for people to kind of sit and hang out. And then I went in and added in the last bits of foliage and the last few furniture pieces that I knew I wanted to incorporate before it was finished. So this is the final build. So as we go from the kind of spawn well area, we have this little courtyard bit with the fountain. I added some fountain tiles underneath the bush areas just to add some more kind of decoration to it, and kept with the archway and fountain theme that I had before because I really loved it. I added in the new ice cream cart from the Star Path here. I think this is just such a gorgeous item. I did want to incorporate the pretzel stand too, but it was way too big. So I'll see if I can figure out a spot for that. But then we obviously have the Monster Inc. apartment from the premium shop. We have our little bench seating area and some cars on the road. I did include Oswald's trolley as well in front of the movie theatre with the gorgeous popcorn machine from the Bell bundle, as well as the little starlights. I think they just look amazing here. Next to that, we just have a little photo booth and snack machine just to kind of fit with the movie theatre vibe as you'd go here and take pictures, and it just looked very retro here. We obviously have our boutique mall area, which has got this really nice fenced in spot. I did include the Mickey fountain in the middle just to bring a bit more character to it, and the little bench seating area on the left. I really love how these are right next to each other and just easy to access at all times and give off a really cute little courtyard area. At the front, we obviously have our gold clock towers and some benches on either side that are matching, and opposite that we have Mike and Sully's apartment, which is just such a gorgeous building. We again have a symmetrical seating area here with another little clock, and then we have the Toontown Fire Station from the Star Path, and also the craftable Toontown fire truck that is from the items. And then we have our little bike park spot, which I really love. It just makes it seem like bikes you'd actually get in a little village. On the exit to the forest, we have a craftable well, and then we have our kind of like food court area. This is definitely my favorite part of the biome, I have to be honest. I am obsessed with this area. I love the little seating area under the gazebo that ties with Remy's, with the new craftable kind of metro sign entrance in front and a little piano. In front of the bakery, we just have some really cute little tables and stalls and just some pastries and drinks on there, which just looks so cute. And then we obviously have Remy's house just to tie it all together and fit this area perfectly. So this is the finished plaza. Now, as I said, I wasn't planning to redo this at all, but I'm genuinely glad I did. I really love how it looks. I've been able to incorporate a lot more buildings in here than I had originally. I've been able to add the boutique, Oswald's house, and the fire station in here just by rethinking my layout, which I think is actually really good. I'm glad I managed to fit them in here and also give them all a little bit of character. Things don't feel cramped in here. You can easily access all the buildings and all the furniture. So it kind of worked out really well, and the new pavement just looks too perfect in here and gives off such a cute little like small town village vibe. So that is it. As I said, it was not planned, but I'm glad I did it. And it was quite spontaneous, so I'm sorry for how long the video was, but it did take me some time to figure out how I wanted things done. I did have to cut out a lot of footage of me just trying to like look at the biome and figure things out, but as I said, I am glad with how it turned out. Let me know down below what you guys think, and if you prefer the old plaza I had or this one. I personally am very biased, but I love this one better. And I'm hoping that there'll be things I can kind of add and incorporate in from the premium shop, as well as the next update in a few months' time. But I am probably going to be redoing some of my biomes. I've actually destroyed my entire forest, I cannot lie. So I will be redoing my kind of like cottage core village up there to incorporate the new Bell cottage house that we got in the premium shop. So stay tuned for that. Let me know down below if you want to see anything else from me. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. Have a lovely week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!